Welcoming a new baby into your life is, well, it's one of the biggest things that can happen. It's full of so much joy, right? But it can also bring a whole new world of challenges that, let's be honest, we don't always talk about. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of them. When we talk about mental health after childbirth, our brains usually jump to one specific condition. It's a term that's become a lot more familiar over the last few years, which is a really good thing. And yep, that's postpartum depression. It's incredibly important, and thankfully, the awareness around it has grown so much. But here's the thing. There's another condition, one that can be just as tough, just as debilitating, but it often flies completely under the radar. And that's what we're going to decode today. We are talking about postpartum anxiety, and it's absolutely crucial to get this straight from the start. This is so much more than the typical worries that every new parent has. So what is it exactly? Well, postpartum anxiety, or PPA, is all about this overwhelming, severe worry that can take over after you have a baby. And the key part of that definition is that it interferes with a person's ability to function. This isn't just a fleeting thought. It's a persistent, draining state of anxiety that can really get in the way of your life. And you might be surprised by how common this is. Research shows that somewhere between 11 and 21% of new mothers in the US experience it. Just think about that for a second. That could be 1 in every 5 new moms. To put that into perspective, it's actually more common than gestational diabetes, yet we hear so much less about it. Wild, right? Now, it's really important to know the difference between PPA and postpartum depression, even though they can be travel buddies. PPA is really driven by this engine of constant worry and racing thoughts. PPD, on the other hand, is marked more by that deep, persistent sadness. But look at that note. They often happen at the same time. And it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? That constant, exhausting cycle of anxiety can easily wear you down and lead to feelings of hopelessness. So knowing what to look for is absolutely the first step. Let's break down the specific symptoms because they can show up in our minds and in our bodies. Mentally, PPA can feel like a storm just raging inside your head. We're talking about thoughts you just can't turn off, a worry that just gnaws at you constantly. A lot of times, these are irrational fears that are all about the baby's safety or just this awful nagging feeling that something terrible is about to happen. And all that mental turmoil, it often shows up as very real physical feelings. It's not just being tired, it's being completely unable to sleep, even when the baby is sleeping. It's that constant feeling of being restless, on edge. Your muscles are always tight. Maybe your heart is racing for what feels like no reason. It's like your body is stuck in fight or flight. And this is why it is so important to address this. The stakes are high. When a parent is just consumed by anxiety, it can put up a wall, making it harder to bond with their newborn. And that stress can also have a real, measurable impact on the baby's development. So getting help isn't just for the parent, it's really for the whole family. Now for the good news, and it is really good news. PPA is absolutely treatable. There are clear paths forward, so let's take a look at the most effective ways to find that support and relief. Usually, the best approach is a combination of things. Therapy, especially CBT, can be a game changer for reframing those anxious thoughts. Simple stress reduction techniques can also bring some immediate calm. For more severe cases, medication can be an incredibly powerful tool. And you can never, ever underestimate the power of a strong support system. It is foundational. But what if we could get ahead of it? It really helps to understand who might be more at risk and what steps you can take to build up your mental resilience. So yeah, certain things can make it more likely for PPA to develop. A personal history of anxiety is a big one, just like not having a strong support system. High stress, major fears about childbirth, and, of course, the epic lack of sleep that comes with a newborn can all pile on and increase the risk. So what do we do about it? The key is to be proactive. It's about building your support network before the baby even arrives. It's about talking through your fears with your doctor, and it's about making a realistic plan to prioritize rest and self-care, even when it feels totally impossible. All right, this might be the most important part of our entire conversation today. How do you know when it's time to stop trying to manage on your own and actually get professional help? Let's make this crystal clear. Here are the signals. If the anxiety is getting in the way of taking care of yourself or your baby, it's time to call. If you feel that disconnect, that struggle to bond, that's a sign. If things are getting worse instead of better, please reach out. And this is critical. If you have any thoughts of harming yourself or your baby, you need to seek help immediately. There is no shame in this. It is a medical issue that needs attention. If there is one single thing you take away from all of this, let it be this simple, powerful message. Experiencing postpartum anxiety does not make you a bad parent. It makes you a human being going through a major medical event and a huge life change. You are not alone in this, and real, effective help is out there. And that leads us to a final thought. Knowing all this, the question isn't just for people experiencing it, but for all of us, as friends, as family members, as a society. How can we make it easier to talk about this stuff? How can we check in on new parents in a way that truly opens the door for them to be honest, so that no one has to feel like they're struggling all by themselves, in silence? Something to think about.